equipment. You can see different tackle here, and the cadets use it to work with sails and to catch the wind. The Krusenstern is a four-masted bark. It used as a cargo bag, but nowadays, as I said, it is a training vessel.
This 14-year-old boy is from central Russia. He is a member of the Maritime League and is working on board ship alongside the rest of the crew.
Is it all men? Do you have any women?
We have some women, they work in the kitchen, and other part of crew is men.
The Indonesian tall ship, the Dewaruchi, made quite an impact as it entered the port. Adopted by Waterford City Council after last year's tsunami disaster in Southeast Asia, it was built in Germany in 1952 and is used as a sail training ship by the Indonesian Navy. The crew, including the captain, were very impressed by the welcome they received in Waterford.
When I arrived in here, many public give like say hello, and then very familiar, friendly, like our motto is Seaman Brotherhood.
The crew of the Indonesian ship, the Dewaruchi, is urging the public to come and visit them. Commander Moses C. Pasolta is the leader of the cadets.
They love us because before, when we coming to the port and going from the port, we always play the band like this. I hope this is it. We just want to give to everybody who show us a happy situation our have.
The enjoyment of life on the ocean and the lessons and values of sail training for young people from America to Russia to Indonesia, all creating international friendship and making Waterford a festive maritime city for the tall ships race, to where Asgard, our own national sail training vessel, brought Ireland's young trainees.
She's a regular sight at the capital's docks, hitting the high seas once again with 20 brave new seafaring souls hoping to return as skilled sailors. Not long from Dublin's shores, the engine is made redundant as the students are called into action to lift the Asgard's mighty sails.
Ease away on your downhauls, haul away on your halyards. You're too slow on the jib, faster! Make fast your halyard, ease off on your weather sheets. The weather's good, so it's a perfect first start. You know, you can go slowly. The ship isn't rolling all over the place. They're not trying to hold on to balance themselves at every step they take. They're doing great. You're hoping that after a few days, they're the ones that run the ship or set the sails. If I'm unemployed after a few days, then I've done my job.
Stretching a staggering 92 feet in height, the ship's square-rigged mast is required climbing in order to set a full sail. It's not for the faint-hearted.
Jeff, just mind your head.
It's an amazing experience up there. It's just, the view is absolutely incredible. You're standing on one piece of rope and it's just so, it's nothing stable. You feel like you could so fall so easily. But, you know, you get used to it, it's grand.
2-6.
It's all hands on deck when hauling the sails.
2-6. 2-6.
We're kind of given a lot of responsibility, which I didn't think we'd be given, which is really good. I suppose they're kind of putting a lot of the weight on us. We really are kind of, it sounds cliche, but we really are kind of sailing the ship.
The trainees are also expected to carry out other general tasks like washing up.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's something different, you know, to be down in the kitchen, so yeah.
Meal times, however, give most people a well-deserved break, but not for the ship's cook, who is one of the 5 permanent crew.
I try to be prepared for any eventuality with different appetites. And again, the weather. If the weather's bad, I got to cook something that's not going to upset somebody's stomach.
I sleep in this bed. This has been one of the biggest beds. Honestly, it's quite hard to sleep in. It's quite hot in here at night. There's not that much air conditioning, and usually the doors are closed at night. The lights are switched off at 12 o'clock. You can use your torches, but generally speaking, everyone else is asleep, so there's not much going.
In spite of this, Conor is back for a second year in a row.
I'm more up for the adventure, you know. It's not actually the sailing. I like the teamwork, and I like the whole opportunity to actually leave home.
Okay, we're through the wind. Tack the head sail!
Captain Colm Newport directs the rookies to turn the ship around in full sail.
See, we're ready to go off on the next course now.
The veteran seaman is confident of his novice sailor's progress by day 10.
Right, let's go. Let's go, main on. Let's go. We want the people to take it as their own experience. At the end of the voyage, they will be capable of being an active crew member on a traditionally square-rigged vessel and carrying out most of the duties required to get the vessel from A to B. The ship weighs approximately 140 tons, so they're using their muscle and brains and the power of the sail to this rig to move this from the joining port through the various stages of the voyage to disembarkation at, in this case, Portsmouth.
From €30 a day, this 10-day sailing course will certainly give you a realistic taste of sea life. And the hard work doesn't really seem to dampen the spirits.
Oh, some biceps on me.
Jib is winning! Starboard's winning!
Way, haul away, we'll haul away, Joe. King Louis had his head cut off and ruined his constitution. Way, haul away, we'll haul away, Joe.
Being part of a tall ship crew is all about lending a hand at everything that goes on and fully participating in the various tasks needed to keep the ship on course and everybody safe and happy. 5 years ago, the Jubilee Sailing Trust, based in Southampton, completed the building of this magnificent vessel, the Tenacious, the world's second square-rigged sailing ship that can be crewed by able-bodied and physically disabled people together. She's 65 metres long and is the largest wooden tall ship of her kind to be built in Britain in the past 100 years. 34-year-old Tremor man Philip Crosby will be sailing on her from Waterford to France starting tomorrow. Disabled people take as much a part in the running of the ship as able-bodied guests.
Why and how did you get into this in the first place?
I'm not quite sure. A friend told me about it, and so I just looked it up on the website and it looked interesting, so I thought I'd just give it a go. I'm kind of addicted now.
What's so good about it?
I don't know. It's just I like the way that there's so many different people on board. You never, you always meet someone new, and also you never know where you're going to go because it all depends on the weather. So.
What about steering the ship and things like that?
Yeah, that's good, especially now they've got the joystick because the wheel's so heavy. So yeah, I can do that a lot more now.
Do you know, we've done all that and we're just getting to the bottom of this bucket.
This is Caroline's first trip on the Tenacious, but her third sailing voyage in a year.
We've only been here for 3 hours.
I have a very mild form of cerebral palsy, so I'm very fortunate in that case, but actually when I come on board ship it gets more pronounced because one of my problems is my balance. So once we hit sea and actually not hit terra firma as it were, my disability gets more pronounced, so I have to learn to cope with it.
How is that exactly?
Well, I can't walk straight, and obviously walking when the ship's on a turn, then you tend to have an upward struggle, and my inner ear doesn't work. So when it gets really rough, and between Cuxhaven and Amsterdam, when we hit gale force 9, I took to my bunk, and that's the safest way to be. And I took to my bunk for a few hours and then reappear.
Okay, can we have watch leaders, permanent crew, bosun's mates, and the cook's assistant to the bridge for the morning briefing, please?
A 6-day sail can cost around €800. All your food is paid for, but you might sometimes have trouble holding the cups in place. Everybody takes turns in helping out in the kitchen, in keeping watch, in steering, in checking the weather reports, and of course in helping to put up and take in the sails.
Certainly it's good now that we've got all the sails up, and the fact that we're no longer using the engine, we are just at the mercy of the wind, and it's great just to see the ship with all the sails there.
You would encourage people to try and go out and try other different things, even do this?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, you've got to go out and try these things, and this has been superb. and you know it is so geared up for people in wheelchairs and so on. So yeah, definitely give it a try.
Many before me have been called by the sea to be up in the crow's nest, singing my say, shiver me timbers as I'm sailing away.
First time and Waterford, and for the shippers of first time to come to this, good people, nice people, Irish people, very good and friendly people, really.
The Tall Ships Race was more than just the biggest maritime occasion in Ireland this year. It was also the biggest tourist event in the country. And one ship brought with it great local pride, the Dunbrody from New Ross across the river shore from Waterford. One Irish shipmaster had the unique distinction amongst his peers at the race of commanding all three Irish tall ships. Captain Tom McCarthy brought the Dunbrody on its first sailing voyage from New Ross. It's a time when skill and strong nerves are called for. Doing 5 knots down the Barrow River from New Ross, heading for what looks like a narrow gap where the railway bridge has swung open. The Dunbrody is under her own power for the first time. Then, watched by railway workers, she moves confidently through the bridge opening and out into the broad Waterford estuary, down past Duncannon Fort, once guardian of that estuary. Sails are hauled, and for the first time, the biggest of the 3 Irish tall ships is sailing, an impressive sight.
I stood on the Barrow Bridge looking at her as she went out to sea, and it's, you know, culmination of 14 years of work. It's, you know, made it all worthwhile to see that happening. But I think the real moment for me was when she came back and the sails were up as she headed into Duncannon, and it was very emotional to see that, and she looked beautiful, and I hope that now she'll have a very active life in getting out to sea under sail. It's been a difficult project, you know, from 1991 to 2005, but I feel that today and to see her under sail gives a great sense of satisfaction. We have so many supporters, people who have supported the project through thick and thin down through the years. I think it's a great day for them. They all put so much into this project. She represents something special for the town of New Ross. She's a great tourist attraction here. She represents the maritime history of this area. I think she represents the maritime history of Ireland, history of emigration. We've had 4 years as a tourist attraction, and we've had over 400,000 visitors, and we've managed to make, you know, a small profit annually, which has been very good. We've now achieved the next stage, which was to get her fitted with engines and all the safety requirements. She's today out there being inspected by the department and to see that all our systems are up to standard. And as we go forward now, we hopefully will have annually an annual sailing program to complement her role as a heritage ship, exhibition ship in New Ross.
The Dunbrody will take second place in the Tall Ships Parade of Sail, just behind the national sail trading vessel Asgard, which will lead it on behalf of the state. And marking the parade as a development of Irish maritime history, the third in the trio of tall ships will be the Jeannie Johnston. All 3 linked by an Irish shipmaster, Captain Tom McCarthy from Cork, who's taken command of the Dunbrody for the tall ship's visit to Waterford. Both the Dunbrody and the Jeannie Johnston were the targets of criticism during their construction programme. But Captain McCarthy, who has taken command of both ships, takes a strong view on the value of these tall ships.
A tall ship is one of the most beautiful things man ever created, and we're all delighted and honoured to be part of the crew and to be part of this whole thing. If you want something this beautiful, you're going to have to pay for it. And that sums up the whole criticism to me. I mean, we're not really a maritime nation, and I mean, who knows what a ship like this costs. All the different figures that were bandied around were so far off the mark, but this ship is worth every penny of what it cost. And she's a home now, she's a ship, she's got a feeling, she's got a character all of her own, and we're all very proud of her.
The tall ships are basically sail training vessels, providing unique experiences for young people. But while there is the beauty of sailing to experience, there can also be tougher times when the weather is rough. But then the bad weather passes and calm seas return to emphasize the overall beauty of the tall ships. "3,000 sail trainees brought music, colour and the vibrancy of youth to the streets of Waterford during the cruise parade, making it a city of sail and of parties.
Well, we have a very great yell, and we have a crew party tonight. All the crews are invited, so we're probably going there, and maybe some pubs, we'll see. Wherever the party is, we'll go.
And 400,000 visitors who came to see the ships brought a multi-million euro economic boost.
We're the girls from Donald's Hill. We've come from Southampton and we've come to Waterford to enjoy ourselves, and it's a great place to be, and everyone's so friendly and the Guinness is so good that we'd like to stay, but we're here with the girls. Girls, get into it!
In part 2, the leaving of Waterford as the tall ships depart.
This week, Paddy goes to a car boot sale in County Cork.
You'd need all sorts of fairs like this, good bed and juggly, as I said.
When people do a clearance from home, you can find a lot of stuff, I think, can't you? That's what people are telling us.
Getting rid of all my clutter makes clarity of mind.
Well, tell us about your obsession with bags.
Slide bags.
You'd make friends, I suppose, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you can make enemies too.
O'Gorman Summer, Tuesday at 7 on RTE1.
Natural gas is a clean, pure fuel. For safety, it has a smell. If you smell gas at home, check your appliances. Don't smoke or switch anything electrical on or off. Open a window. Turn off the gas at the meter, then call our 24-hour emergency service immediately on 1850 20 50 50. If you smell gas on the street, ring Bord Gáis at once. Don't assume someone else will. Get a safety booklet and keep it at home. A safety message from Bord Gáis.
You'll be amazed how BT Broadband will grow your whole world. Keep watching and find out why there's now more reason than ever to sign up. It's time to grow with BT.
When you're dealing with filth, get this fella in. Blue Actor-Clean Block with bicarb. Put him in a cistern and bang, he does the business every time you flush. But I'm left white and wet. For sparkling clean, use Blue Acti-Clean.
New Galtee Sinless Rashers and Sausages are lower in fat and salt with a taste that's just divine. Sinless, simply heavenly.
Text. Talk. Text. Talk. Text. Talk. Text.
We've upped the ante on Meteor 5-cent talk or text. Now you can choose both 5-cent talk and 5-cent text and get a Nokia 3120 or Sage Myci 3.2 from just €89. Join now at Meteor stores and participating outlets nationwide.
¿Sabes qué? Te toca.
Now you can grow your whole world for less with BT Broadband. Pay €15 per month for 4 months. And because it's always on access, the only thing that won't grow is your monthly bill. Call 1800 923 923 now or go to btireland.ie. It's time to grow with BT.
Big Six is the new smart way to win $1 million. Just text 6 numbers to Big Six, and if they come up in the main lottery draw, Big Six pays you a tax-free, no-share million. It's easy. Text BIG to 50150 to register your 6 numbers. It's just €2 a draw. You're always in. You get your results by text. Match 6 and win a no-share million.
And you can try it for free. Free text the word BIG to 50150 now. Kinsale people.
Freshly painted. Do you think it's too much?
Kinsale Tales. Wednesday at 7:30 on RTE1.
Today's the day when they go back to sea again, taking with them some 3,000 young sail trainees, many going on the voyage of a lifetime for the first time ever, a voyage across the ocean wave. It's the way of the sailor's life, where they touch shore for a while, then go to sea again. We'll be looking at the parade of sail in a few minutes. In the meantime, let's look back at just how Waterford became a city of sail this week.
Hei, mitt navn Kristoffer Rustad, og jeg veldig glad for å være her I Waterford på Tall Ship Race.
Represento a Marinha Portuguesa. Estou a gostar muito de estar aqui em Waterford.
Bonjour, mon nom est Hugues et je suis ici à Waterford pour la Tall Ship Race 2005.
Cześć, jestem Mariusz. Jest to polski żaglowiec Pogoria. Przypłynęliśmy tutaj.
Hejsan, mitt namn är Sofie Gunnarsson och jag är jätteglad för att vara här I Waterford med Tall Ship Race.
They spoke with many tongues this week in Waterford, with 20 different nations represented. The Indonesian ship, the Dewaruchi, provided entertainment for the visiting guests. Some were even persuaded to join in.
And for many of the foreign nationals working in this country, it's an opportunity for them to catch up with their fellow countrymen.
So I'm Polish, you know, I'm living in Reykjavik, in Uras, in Ireland now, and it's nice to meet people from Poland, my country first, so it's really nice, and I'm a sailor, so it's my passion.
Thousands throng the quayside to soak up the festival atmosphere.
I love it. I love this place. It's amazing. Everybody's so nice. You know, it's really nice to be here.
It's definitely the best port so far.
It's absolutely fantastic for the city. It's bringing a great atmosphere and spirit, which is much needed in the city at the present time.
Well, we think it's wonderful, really. Although we've only just arrived, the first impressions are very good, and it's very well organised.
park and ride system coming in is very good. First impression's great, and the weather is conducive.
Hi, I'm Patty Hanby. I'm here from Denver, Colorado. We're here for a week's holiday. And we just happened on the tall ships, and we're thrilled because we never saw them in Boston, where we lived for 10 years. So it's kind of nice to happen on them here in Waterford, which is a beautiful town.
These young people are trainees on board the Asgard, the Irish national sail training vessel.
Hi, my name's Emma Hughes. I'm from Westport in Mayo. I'm 17 and I go to the King's Hospital in Dublin. I heard about this because lots of my cousins have done it and they said it was an amazing experience, so I want to try for myself and find out exactly what it's like. So I'm a trainee on board Asgard, which means I'm just on deck here, and Catherine, I suppose, gets us to clean the floors and sail the boat, whatever else, and we're in the tall ships race from Waterford to Sherbrooke, so hopefully it'll be a good experience.
My name's Nessa O'Sullivan. I'm from Cork. Came up this morning on the bus to join the Asgard here as a crew member. Can't wait, it's going to be a fantastic experience. I'm a first year college student and I haven't a clue about sailing, and I hope to learn everything here now over the next week. Looking forward to it.
It's the first time Waterford has hosted such a major international event. And for those on board ship and on land, this 4-day spectacle has lived up to all expectations.
Well, this was the morning after the night before. This is only some of what was left after last night's party here in the city. And I suppose what a party it was too. Gardaí estimate there were around 130,000 people out last night to watch the fireworks display. For obvious safety reasons, the fireworks had to be positioned the far side of Rice Bridge, away from the ships. This morning at 6:30, this couple, they were still dancing on the quay beside the Dunbrody. I suppose for many people though, the best crew by far were the Indonesians, and at 7 this morning, they were fully kitted out and ready to go, all lined up for roll call, or what I suppose is properly known as divisions, just to check to see that everybody's present and correct and tell them the plan for the day. Then just as the Dunbrody and the Jeannie Johnson were passing by, the Indonesians were saying prayers for all crews to have a safe voyage. After that, they saluted the Portuguese crew. They were tied up alongside them for the week. And then, like a shot, they were scampering up the rigging. Tom, these guys have no fear. It's just amazing to see what fun they seem to have at everything they do. Always smiling and I suppose so welcoming. In a way, the best type of ambassadors any country could have. Speaking of fun, it was beans and more beans in the kitchen of the Norwegian ship, the Christian Radich, for the next 3 weeks. Christine here, she'll be looking after and cooking breakfast for 115 people.
Today we start 6:30, so the breakfast starts 7:30, so it's not quite that early. It's okay.
Is it difficult cooking for so many people?
No, I don't think so. But it's difficult when the sea is rough, you know, so then it's very hard to work because you have to concentrate so much.
Anybody not like the food?
No, everybody likes the food. It's something about the sea and the air and everything.
At 7 o'clock this morning, there were a lot of sleepy heads. I suppose they may not know it now, but it will be an amazing journey for all these teenagers. There are 15 boys and girls from Waterford, 15 from France, 15 from Norway and 15 from Germany. The Irish ones, they only came on yesterday, and last night it was their first night on board. A lot of them will be sleeping or not sleeping, as the case may be, in hammocks.
Grand, it's just when you wake up in the morning, you have to clean everything away, just get ready for your breakfast. Oh.
It's not like home.
Home, you just get up and that's it.
How's it been so far?
How's it been? Well, we only got here yesterday, so far I had to get up really early to run for the bathrooms. That's one thing I don't like. But sleeping in a hammock was an experience. I nearly fell out of it, but sure, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's like sleeping in, I don't know, I kept tipping to one side and I was in between two people, and then every time I moved I was afraid I was going to fall out and there's a table underneath me, but it's okay, because when the water's going I'll just swing with the water.
Lindsay, had you good sleep?
No. Had to sleep on the floor.
Why?
Because I couldn't get up into the hammock.
What are you going to do tonight?
Sleep on the floor again, because I can't get up. And
you have to get up on the hammock sometime.
But I'm afraid of heights.
Out on the quayside, there were hugs and kisses from friends and family members saying goodbye. Parents, they said they were delighted their sons and daughters were getting this maybe once in a lifetime chance of sailing on a tall ship.
2 daughters now sailing today, this morning.
Are you worried?
Not really, no. A great experience for me, you know.
How do you feel?
I'm excited for him. I think it's brilliant. And he's all excited. It's a great experience, you know.
Do you think you'll get any sleep?
He looks very tired already this morning, so we'll see how the few days go with him, you know.
And then with many parts of the quayside again full with people, the ship started leaving the port of Waterford, down the river shore and towards the mouth of the estuary.
For those waiting for the parade of sail, the first of the tall ships emerged out of Waterford port into a morning mist, a spectral-like recreation in the estuary of what it must have been like in the old days of sail as ships headed for the sea. The Irish tall ships had the honour of leading the parade, with the Asgard in front and behind her the largest of the Irish tall ships, the Dunbrody, bringing a huge surge of pride to the people of Wexford who lined the shores at Duncannon as she made her way down home waters, overcoming in triumph the difficulties of a long building project. And behind her another ship that had overcome its travails and criticism to show the pride of Irish craftsmanship, the Jeanie Johnston. Commentary analysis at the parade of sail comes from Second Officer Barry Martin from Galway, an experienced tall ship sailor.
She's just finished setting her topgallant, which is the top one of the 3 squares. And brigantines were unique in that they were very, very fast and very efficient rig, and were used mainly in the last century, carrying cargoes between Ireland and England and the continent.
Those young people we see in the bow now, they'll be going across to Sherbrooke. It'll take them a few days to get across there. They'll have learned an awful lot by the time they get over.
Yes, they will. I just hope that the wind will pick up for them now for the start of the race, because it makes it very difficult to get square ships across the line if you don't have wind.
And it's good to see Asgard is actually moving over slightly to allow the Dunbrody to head up to the parade, the head of the parade, I think, if I don't miss my guess, Barry.
Yeah, it's looking that way. It's looking that way. I think the Dunbrody is going to take the lead.
And as the camera pulls out, you'll now see the magnificent sight of the Jeanie Johnston coming in to join the trio.
Yeah, there's a great shot now with the 3 ships all coming in line.
I think this is the moment of the best moment we'll see in the entire parade of sail. The 3 Irish ships are now all organised by their captains, by Captain Colin Newport, by Captain Tom McCarthy, by Captain Michael Coleman, closing up to give a magnificent display, romantic times of sail recalled, and a magnificent piece of courtesy from all 3 captains to show the public just what Ireland now has in tall ships.
Absolutely, that's looking very good. Looking very, very good, Tom.
This is perhaps what all the talk about tall ships, about sail training has meant, the amount of effort people have put in to keep these ships going. There's another cannon going from the Asgard as she moves off now to head towards Dunmore East, where the start of the sail will be. But I think people at Duncannon have seen the best of this, Barry, in those shots.
Absolutely, Tom. It's lovely to see it. I'm very, very proud to be here and commentating on it.
There you are, the Jeanie Johnston under Captain Michael Coleman. You see the other small boats that are providing a flotilla here coming along, all proud to be part of this great day of sail here in the Waterford estuary. And there is Eye of the Wind. Barry, the Eye of the Wind is a Class A ship under the UK flag.
Yeah, she's a Class A. She's also a brigantine like Asgard too, but she does set topsails on her main, which Asgard doesn't do. But she is a brigantine, and she's quite a famous boat and is featured in a number of films. This is the Europa we see coming now from Holland.
There's a strong history, of course, to this ship. Again, an original launched in 1911 at the Hamburg shipyard, originally named the Senator Brock's. And she had been ordered for construction, believe it or not, by the city of Hamburg for use as a lightship in the mouth of the Elbe. Now, there she is, a beauty under sail.
And the next one we see in shot there, Tom, is the Captain Miranda from Uruguay. This was originally a research vessel, but has now been completely refurbished and turned into a sail training vessel. And it has attended many tall ships events.
Come a long way to attend this one. Now we have the French involvement in this race, Barry, the Bellum.
Yeah, the Bellum from France. Yeah, she's another three-masted bark, and at the moment she has all her staysail set.
Has to be said, of course, setting a sail on a ship like this is much different to a yacht. As you can see, it takes quite a few people now. They're getting the rope, straining on the ropes. You can see the crew now straining. This takes a lot of effort, Barry.
Yes, quite a bit of effort, and most of these sail training ships are what we call hydraulic. They don't have any winches or things to help them set the sails. It's all done by sheer physical force.
Now, coming into vision is the US Coast Guard vessel, the Eagle, Barry.
Yes, and you can see there she's very, very significant with her Coast Guard stripe. And this Eagle, of course, it was the original Horst vessel, which belonged to Germany and was taken as a war prize by the Americans and then turned over to the US Coast Guard in 1972. She was commissioned as a sail training vessel.
Duncannon Port is certainly a hive of activity. I mean, it's amazing, like everybody's out in the water, anyone who has a boat or a dinghy, and thankfully the weather is lifting and the breeze is starting to pick up as well as they came out from the river into the wider estuary, and it seems to be good crack on board this one behind us.
Barry, these people enjoy their sailing.
Absolutely, they do, and it's great to see young people like that. Very, very colourful, very, very colourful indeed. Able to see that Waterford has adopted this ship.
I suppose somebody will make the comment that they're so busy playing, there isn't a sail flying. Now this is the Alexander von Humboldt. She's a German ship but with a strong Irish presence aboard, Barry Martin.
Yes, the mate on board is John Gill from Kerry, who sailed on many of the sail training vessels here.
And she has a number of Irish trainees, I gather, going on this trip.
This is what it's all about, and yes, and one of the conditions of entering the tall ships event is that 50% of the trainees on board must be between the ages of 18 and 25, which makes it rather unique. And you'll get upwards of maybe 2,000 or 3,000 young people at any of these events.
Now, one of the famous names amongst the tall ships, the Mirror.
Yes, and the Mirror is one of the five of this class vessel have been built, and if you notice they have squares on all the masts, so they're entitled to be called ships. And Mir, of course, it means youth.
Now, within the tall ships race, amongst the very big vessels which we've been seeing, the contrast is with the smaller vessels like these ones, which are traditionally rigged. Would have been kind of old sailing ships, Barry?
Yes, they were actually old sailing, maybe sailing vessels or fishing vessels or working vessels that have been taken over and converted for sail training.
And they all provide the variety and, of course, the numbers, because everything can't be the big tall ships. There are only a few, a controlled number of those perhaps in the world. These smaller vessels are what keeps this event going from year to year with their commitment to it.
That's right, yes, and it's interesting to note that there's a total of 21 countries involved in the tall ships this year, with a total of 84 vessels.
Now coming down the river, a vessel which has a very special place in this parade of sail. Though not Irish owned, it's commanded by a Waterford man, and Barry Martin, this is where you should normally be. You're second officer on this vessel.
Yes, and I'll be joining her in Cherbourg for the rest of the series. It's also interesting to note that the second officer on board at the moment is the young lady Deirdre O'Neill from Waterford.
And she's commanded by?
None other than Liam Keating. Liam from Waterford, and is a very proud man that all the ships will come to his home port.
The ship here, we would carry 48 voyage crew, away anything from a 5-day to a 10-day to a 25-day transatlantic. Here, I suppose if you put it down, they're like a little seedling. we're giving them a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of water, a little bit of food, and again, as a teacher side of it, they're coming to us for the information, and you've got 48 different sponges soaking this information up at different rates, and that's where the fun, the crack and the challenge of a sail training ship is. There's also kind of inter-ship rivalry. Again, I used to sail on Ascar too. I also sailed on Tenacious. There's another ship coming up called Royalist. I've sailed in her. So there's captains are, I suppose, the biggest showmen around the place. They want it's one-upmanship all the time. To have 3 square-rigged ships with an Irish flag on them, starting from an Irish port, I'm dead and gone to heaven.
And there we see the man himself.
And there in picture now is Liam and a couple of his officers.
Liam, the man with the cap there and the bars on his shoulder, looking proudly around, but still obviously very important to watch the trim of the ship, make sure everything is working, talking to those way up the bow, because he'll need to communicate with them to such a length of the ship. Let's talk by radio.
The vessel in view now is the Sark Race from Portugal, which is run by the Portuguese Navy. And interestingly, she is one of the vessels built by the same company that built the Eagle and the Gorsch Falk. She was originally a German vessel, again taken over by the Portuguese and renamed Sark Race.
Right along with lots and lots of young people, something like 3,000 or more young sail trainees going down the Waterford estuary this morning. They've touched shore for a few days, they've enjoyed themselves, now they're going back to sea again. It's the way of the sailor. You come ashore for a while and then again you go back to answer the call of the sea. Barry Martin, what is that call?
Again, it's something I've experienced myself. Once you've gone, you keep going back. But the sea does attract young people, and it does bring out the best in them. And again, this is the Gallant, this is a gaff schooner, and one of 8 vessels from Holland. Holland very well represented here.
For such a small country, they really have a huge representation at this event.
Yes, well, when you consider that most of Holland was underwater at some stage or other, they probably need plenty of boats to get around.
Stars and Stripes flying proudly at the stern of the Pride of Baltimore. She cuts a fine dashing sight, mast slightly sloped back, very much giving an impression of a speedy vessel, a bit low in the water. She comes as a successor to a vessel, Barry Martin, which had a tragedy all its own.
Yes, the original Pride of Baltimore, which was a similar vessel, unfortunately was lost at sea, with a number of people being lost with her, and this one replaced her. She's Pride of Baltimore 2, was built in 1988. And coming into view now is the Eendracht, another one from Holland. And this vessel was built in 1989 and replaced the original Eendracht, which is now called the Johann Schmidt, has been bought by the German sail training organization. This is a very, very modern vessel, and she has a lot of mechanical aids on to help get the sails up. And a very, very popular entry in the trawl ships races every year. I don't think she's ever missed a year at the trawl ships. And we're looking at the Shabab Oman now, which is originally a vessel that operated in Scotland under the name of the Captain Scott, but was built in Buckie in Scotland in 1971. But in 1977, due to lack of funds, the organisation running her then, the Loch Isle Youth Trust, had to sell her. And the Sultan of Oman had a personal interest in buying her and renamed her the Shabab Oman, which is the Youth of Oman. And she's now part of the Royal Oman Navy. You see there she is a barkentine, and she has staysail set ahead of the foremast and between the fore and mainmast, with big gaffsails on the main and mizzen mast.
Now we can pick up seeing the cruising stern. Now this is a really big vessel, Barry. The question I'd have at this moment is, why is she now not flying sail when other ships have given the example of putting their sails up?
Well, as you said, Tom, she is one of the bigger vessels here, in fact one of the biggest vessels here, and would be more concerned with her draft in the water. She's a very deep vessel, and have probably decided in the interest of safety not to set sail, which would interfere with her navigation.
She's 104 meters long. That is a huge vessel. In fact, she's the second largest sailing ship in the world. Now, the Christian Radich is named after her benefactor, and many of these ships need a benefactor to keep them going. It was a lumber dealer with a fascination for life at sea. He died away back in 1889, but he left sufficient money to start building a new training ship in Oslo. Coming into view now here at Duncannon, a ship with a very special place in this parade of sail, because she does show, Barry Martin, that there is no bar to going sailing, and she does tremendous work.
Yes, absolutely, Tom. Belongs to the Jubilee Sailing Trust, which is devoted to taking handicapped, mildly handicapped and severely handicapped people to sea, including people in wheelchairs. Well, Tom, we have the Royalist now, which belongs to the Sea Cadet Corps, which is a similar organisation to our Slough Wherry in Ireland. This vessel was built in 1971. It's quite getting on in years now, but very well looked after, and caters for young people as young as 13 up to 17 and 18 in our normal trading.
The crew again lining the port side, passing by Duncannon Fort here, which is the major and final point perhaps they'll see as they leave port, saluting. Off Hook Head, the ships gathered for the race start to Cherbourg, but the fickle Irish weather intervened and the wind disappeared. It seemed that Waterford, which according to race organisers had earned €30 million from the race, didn't want the ships to go. Eventually, the start was moved further out to sea, and they did leave. Behind them, there were great maritime memories. Waterford 2005, the tall ships, has been a big success. About 300,000 people came to Waterford to see them. For me, the piece of maritime history made was the sight of 3 Irish tall ships together for the first time: Asgard, Dunbrody and the Jeanie Johnston. And the remarkable piece of courteous seamanship shown to us in front of Duncannon when the 3 Irish masters showed this island nation that we do have 3 tall ships.
With even faster download speeds, Eircom broadband's now better than ever.
Good evening. All in all, it hasn't been a bad bank holiday Monday, and in fact today was probably the best day of the August weekend. Cloudy though for much of France and Northern Europe with rain, although amounts were very small. There will though be some thundery showers through Germany and the Czech Republic over the next few days. Now as regards temperatures, they're in the low 20s up here, like ourselves at best. The mid 20s though through central France, Austria and Switzerland, with temperatures then in the very high 20s for Hungary. Some showers through the Pyrenees today, but most of the activity actually through the early part of this week will be centred through Sardinia, Corsica and in parts of Italy too. Highs today, well, they'd reach 30 by noon in Rome. Temperatures generally remaining in the 30s, but it's the very high 20s for the Canary Islands. Temperatures of 27 in Tenerife this afternoon. Equally as good then for the eastern end of the Mediterranean, with dry, sunny weather forecast right throughout the week. If you're off on a city break, well, for London, Berlin, Paris and Barcelona, it'll be very pleasant for sightseeing. In Rome, though, you may encounter a few thundery downpours because of the heat. Now, rain in the west during tomorrow morning will push over to the east through the afternoon, but after that, it will start to brighten up back here. Tomorrow, a southerly wind will back westerly as the rain clears, and we'll have temperatures of 17 to 20. I'll see you again tomorrow. Good evening.
You'll be blown away with what Eircom broadband can do for you. Find out more on eircom.ie.
How do you protect yourself every morning?
It's true, you really start to enjoy life as you get older. But sometimes you forget you're not as young or as fit as you used to be.
Danone Actimel with Alcasia Immunitas is scientifically proven to help strengthen your natural defenses.
You have to look after yourself, protect yourself every day. That's where Actimel comes in. And you know what they say, you're as young as you feel.
Over 2 million Irish people help strengthen their natural defenses with Danone Actimel.
Danone.
Relax in the friendly atmosphere of the Kilkenny Ormond Hotel. Spacious family rooms, 4-star facilities and welcoming staff. The price? A lot less than you thought at the Kilkenny Ormond Hotel. Free phone 1800 301 301. You deserve a break.
More departures. More value. You're better off on Bus Éireann.